This video, we're going to look at how to create a stacked bar graph. You can kind of think about it from the standpoint of we're going to analyze part of the whole. To visualize this in your head, you can think of how full is that glass of water, or visualizing how complete something is. So essentially it's in two parts. So for us, when using these scores right here, we're going to look at part A, which is our score, and then B, the second part of the stacked graph, is going to be the difference. So what we did here is I've got some scores in here, and it's not actual data. And when I'm looking at this, there's a couple of things I want to pull out of here. The first is this, the scaled score itself. I'm not going to use that. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to look at this raw score, which is based off of that scaled score that we get from the ACT. And this is our estimated raw score based on that other score. And this is the total number of questions that were on the test. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to call this, so total number questions. And so what we'll do is we're going to do a formula here. We're just going to say equals, and then we'll do parentheses, and then we're going to say this minus this, and then we'll close it. And so there's the difference in those scores. So this is the raw estimate. This is the total number of questions. This is a percentage correct. We're actually going to, what we're going to do is a stacked graph with these two, and then we're actually going to build a third graph in with this. So to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to highlight right through here. And you notice I've left a space right here so that I can split off between math and English. So we're going to highlight, and we're going to go to insert. We'll go to bar, and then you'll notice this right here. And that's what we're looking for. So let's bring this down here and make this nice and big. So now when we look at it, first thing we want to do, make this where we can read it. One of the things that's interesting about these is it's not actually black. You'll notice it's gray. So we can make everything a little bit easier to view just by doing some simple formatting. And then so in our chart title, we're just going to look at this. We'll just call this, so stacked ACT scores. Now, what we're looking at, let's put our labels in so we can see, is right here. This is the number of points that are available still to us. This is the number of points we actually scored. So when you start looking at this, you can get an idea and say, okay, here's the number of points that we still have available to us. So here's where we could actually show some improvement. So if you look at 2011, they had 42 points on average. 2012 was 43, and then it dropped to 38 and 39. Well, what we could do here, of course, is we can look at it and say, okay, so this is all the area that we have for improvement. This is all the area that we have for improvement. Now, if we were to break English down into the subgroups, and let's say one subgroup was really high and one subgroup was really low, then what that would tell us is that we need to focus on the really low subgroup. So when we look at this stacked chart like this, it gives us an easy way to visualize and say, where do we need to focus our energy on? Well, based just on this right here, we can get an idea that you're looking at it and you start looking and saying, okay, where do we need to do better at? Well, considering there's only 60 math questions, and you look at the number here, well, then maybe based on this information, we would want to focus a little more energy here and a little less energy here. It all depends, but that's how this stacked works. Now, we've got this set up. Now, what's going to help us, though, is we're going to go in here with this, and we're actually going to make a second chart. And it's just based on these scores right here. So to do that, we're just going to go in here, we're going to highlight here. We're going to use control and highlight there. We're going to make a bar. So we've got our bar graph here. Now, a couple things we're going to do with our bar graph. Number one is we're going to go to Format, Shape Fill, and we're going to make it empty. We're also going to click on the outline, and we're going to get rid of the outline. And then we're going to remove the chart title. We're going to add labels. We're going to remove the grid lines. Remove the axis so that all you see is what's remaining here. Then we're going to come in here, and you'll notice that we can actually go into this Let's see. And find quick layout. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to position these. And remember, this is just the math one that we did. So we're going to take this and drag it over here and position it in between these. So it takes a little bit of moving around and drag it right where we want. We'll need to move it in a little more. But what we can do there we go, perfect. Now let's change the color here. So let's go to Format, change the fill color, we'll make this red. Now when we look at this, one of the things that we can see is we can say, okay, look at 2011 math. So in 2011 math, we got 25 out of 30, 25 out of 60 questions correct. 35 were left that we got wrong. So we only got 41.7%. So when we put these two together like this, now you can get a good idea of where we're at. We can see the percentage we got correct. We can see the actual number we got correct, but we can also see what's still available. And so when we break this down, this gives us a really good idea to see where we can show most improvement. Like right here, for example, I know it's not a lot percentage-wise, but based on looking at this, if these were all four different, let's say elementary algebra, geometry and algebra, and then like geometry and trig, we could actually break this down and know where we need to focus at. So that's what's helpful here about this stacked chart, is that we can line it up like this, and then we can also go in and add percentages next to it like we did this, and we get a lot of information out of this.